Hi, this is Martin with another video looking at getting started with OpenInsight 10. Today I want to take a very quick look at the system monitor. It's a hands-off lesson, but it's a lesson that is very important, and I learnt that lesson last night when I was working in a different system, and I managed to put myself through code into an infinite loop, and I couldn't get out of OpenInsight, so I had to aggressively close it down. I learned that if I was running with the system monitor, I could have gracefully exited that process or even OpenInsight completely. So running the OpenInsight system monitor is simply a case of going to the view menu and system monitor, and that opens up thus. Now, if you get yourself into a system lockup, that's not going to do you any good because you can't get to the IDE to run the system monitor. So let's just close out of OpenInsight for a moment, and if we go to our shortcut and we do a right mouse click and properties, at the end we can put another switch in, so /sm equals 1. If we apply that and then we run OpenInsight again, this time it's going to launch with the system monitor, and it's my advice and a recommendation to have that system monitor running when you start OpenInsight, because if you do get into trouble, then you can get access to it. Now, the system monitor provides a command line which executes in event handler context, and the output panel in the main IDE displays the information about the processes that are running in the system. And this means that anything that can execute from an event handler can be executed from this command line, and this includes things like SQL statements, programs, we call them stored procedures, and things like that. So some examples would be issuing a stop command if you got into a problem where a window locked up, assuming you got the system monitor running, without going through the open engine. The other thing you can do is you can use the system monitor to output content into a control in an executing window. So we'll cover this a little bit later, but if you've got a control set as the status line in your form, this will enable the that control to view what's being processed in the executing window real time. But anyway, you'll see that in a little bit more detail, but let's go through an example here. So this is the system monitor. You've got your command line, and you've got a drop down where you can see recently run commands. So what I could do here is I could just quit, and this is going to take me right out of OpenInsight. It quits everything in a graceful manner. Now, the other thing that I can do in here is to run an RDK install. So from time to time, the guys at Revelation will send me an update. Now, you can run that from the tools menu doing an install RDK module, and you just browse to wherever your RDK is. I tend to keep all of my RDKs off the C in RDK. You click OK, it then runs through, and you see that output in the output window, and it tells you that it's finished. So normally you would do the RDK from the user interface, but as an example, because the RDK install is a program, what I can do is I can go run RDK install. Hopefully I'm going to get the syntax right for this. I'm terrible, which is why I prefer to use the tools. But if I do run RDK install, I think I want a semicolon in there, RDK, and we hit return, then you'll see that it's gone away, it's found RDK install program in the repository, and it's run it. And we've got that same output. You saw that scrolling in the output window there, and we get the finished at 17:10, 15 seconds at today's date. So my advice is to run with the system monitor at all times. It can be a real lifeline, but also it's very useful for running programs, and very often the technical support guys will drop into the system monitor and run all sorts of things from the command line when we're checking stuff out. So yeah, quite a useful tool. Anyway, that's this one. Nice short lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.